What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and it is another Wednesday, which means we are here for a Wednesday deck profile. And the ban list still hasn't dropped. I have a whole lot of ideas that I want to do for when the ban list drops. One of them is probably going to be coming early on Friday. But yeah, we decided to take a look at another like sort of rogue kind of strategy sitting on the edge of the meta. Although this deck did very well, like Infernoids in general. I did very well at one of the tournaments I went to in Sydney over a couple of weeks ago. I actually think the player finished up going second. Yeah, so it was quite surprising to just see the deck playing out of nowhere. I'm sure I'm probably not playing the same build as him. His build is probably completely different. I just kind of went with the most streamlined, as close to 40 build as I could. But, you know, Grass is coming back on the ban list, so you may as well, like, be ready to go with your Infernoids so that when Grass does definitely come back on the next list, we can all play 60 card decks and have deck building go to its finest. But as always, before we get started on this one, please do remember to drop down below and hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we are always happy to have new people to the channel. And let's get on into the deck profile for this one. Okay, so starting us off, we have the Infernoids, and we are, of course, playing just 2 copies of Anunku to start us off. Anunku and, of course, Deviati are essentially your board wipes, so you have a Harpy's Feather Duster and a Regeki, or not really a Regeki, I guess it's Dark Hole, because it can nuke everything. And then they also turn into negations. Typically, you're going to drop these onto board in, like, the mid to late game. You're not going to be, like, throwing them out straight away, because they do require quite a heavy cost. As always, though, your Decatron is what's going to be summoning these guys out. Then for our other big Infernoids, we are playing 1 copy of Antondal. I believe he's the double attack. Then we have 2 copies of Seistmas and 1 copy of Sajet. The reason why we're playing 2 copies of Seistmas is just really resolving that Void Feast twice would be good. So you kind of need at least 2 of these in deck. The Seistmas letting you... It's probably more versatile because you can always just get 1 Seistmas plus 1 Decatron, whereas the first time you'd like to get 1 Sajet and then double Decatron, so hopefully you have 1 Seistmas left in your deck after that. And if you're resolving Void Feast twice, you've won the game, so don't be too stressed if that's not a situation that's going down a lot. Also, I feel as though this is the correct number to kind of play, like 4 in general, just for mainly OTK pieces. Then we move into our 1s, which summon from the hand. We have 1 copy of Petrulia, 1 copy of Harmadic, and we're playing 1 copy of Primus. The reason why we're playing the 1 copy of Primus over, say, like double Petrulia, is the fact that we are playing the Relinquished Anima in the extra deck as a way to get into the Dogmatica package. I haven't said that so far, but I'm sure it's in the title. But we are playing Dogmatica. It is the main reason why we're playing the 1 Priestmas to give us a 1-1-1 ratio on these guys. Then, of course, we do move into our Decatrons. So 3 copies of Decatron, of course, is what's going to be following up that. Of course, just sends copies, turns into mass negation. Of course, the field spell makes all of these cards good. Not the Infernoid field spell, though. We are playing the Void field spell. Overall, makes all of these cards very good. This is your typical normal summon for the deck if you do draw it, so don't stress too much. The rest of everything else just free special summons, which means your Ecclesia doesn't always need an extra deck monster to be able to slam itself down at the board for free. Of course, now we do move into our Dogmatica package, so we are playing 2 copies of Ecclesia. It is trimmed down, of course, to be able to make room, kind of get this as close to 40 as possible, so 2 Ecclesia is what we're playing here. Then we have 1 copy of Fleur, as just like a negation you can get through, and 1 copy of probably the easiest side-out card in the deck, and that is 1 copy of Maximus. This is your main Dogmatica engine for like your monster lineup. You have the Maximus to punish players who don't play around it anymore. You got the Fleur for the negation, and of course your 2 Ecclesias to start everything. Then we move into our spells, and we are playing 3 copies of the Searcher in Void Vanishment. Of course, discard, add card, normally adds Void Feast Resolve, you win. Hopefully that's the order that you have played this out in, and you have successfully won the game. If not, it's okay. You do play a lot of consistency cards and power spells in this deck. We are only playing 2 copies of Void Imagination next up, simply because this isn't a blind second build. In a blind second build, you would consider playing the 3rd. Possibly, I would even consider siding a 3rd copy. If I knew I was going second, I could then like switch into that like blind second, obliterate the board kind of situation. Next off, we are playing 3 copies of Nadir Servant, just because it gives you a toolbox to your entire extra deck. Also facilitates your entire Dogmatica package, so 3 Nadir Servant is good. We are then playing 3 copies of Prosperity. We're not playing Extravs in this build. Prosperity is probably the better option. I don't believe it conflicts with anything in terms of drawing cards in the deck, so card good. It opens up your toolbox to be able to just look and see what you need to go with. Be that stuff like the field spell, if you don't have like terraforming or the field spell. Stuff like your power spells like Monster Gate and Reasoning. This card can just get to those. Also can like kickstart off things by getting you an Imagination or the Vanishment just to get things going. Next off, of course, we have 3 copies of that field spell. It is 3 copies of Lair of Darkness, and of course we have 1 terraforming to follow this up. Just the fact that you tribute as cost, tributing your opponent's monsters is insane. So why would you not just be playing 3 copies of Lair of Darkness, because it is a good card in this deck. Then we have, of course, 3 copies of Monster Gate, just to try and foolish through the deck, get as much into grave as possible. You will typically hit a Dogmatica card as your summon. Hopefully it's not Fleur. If it's Fleur, it's a bit rough, but oh well. Then we have 1 copy of Reasoning following up that. Again, same thing. Your opponent's probably going to declare 1 against this deck, so hopefully you hit an Ecclesia. The Ecclesia is hopefully not going to slow you down too much, having hit it. Then for the last spell in the deck, we're playing 1 copy of 1 for 1, just to get you a Decatron out of the deck. Then we are playing the traps, 3 copies of Void Feast. I think this is our 41 cards, so 42 is the last card of my hand. You probably know what that is already, it's Punishment, spoilers. But your Feast is just going to get you that special summon from the deck. Hopefully, again, I said it a couple times, but you win game if you resolve this, so hopefully you've resolved this. Okay, next off we have the extra deck, and we are playing 2 copies of Tierra. It is unlikely that you're ever going to summon both copies of Tierra in the deck. You just really need to summon 1 to kind of steamroll everything out of control. But I did feel as though 2 was possibly correct in this list, simply because there is the chance that it can happen. And if it does happen, you do want to have that situation there and ready to go. After that, of course, though, we are playing 3 copies of Entis. Pop everything card. Good. Not once per turn. Just, like, vomit them all out and just be like, pop, pop, pop. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Because Omega, Omega, Omega. Then, for the rest of our fusions, though, we are playing 1 copy of Titanic Lad just to get you into your Dogmatica engine. And 1 copy of Macabre, of course, because we are playing the Nova. If our opponent wants to hit us, it's very unlikely if our opponent wants to hit us with a Maximus. They're gonna lose against this deck if they try and Maximus you, so hey, you may as well make sure that they lose. Then, of course, after that, we are playing 1 copy of Omega to put everything back and help you cycle. You are going to be banishing 6 out of here to resolve your Prosperity, so you don't really want to run out of resources, although this isn't really a extra deck type deck. It can happen where you're just going to run out of resources, given that if you Prosperity and then use the Fusion Summon, you're already going 9 out of here. Then if you play anything from your Dogmatica package, you're going at least 1 more out of here, so that's like 10 gone, you have 5 left. You kind of need to start putting stuff back with Omega. Also, it's just free to kind of get put into your graveyard, because you're going to be resolving multiple times and ways to send it. Then we get into a pretty heavy Link package after this, because surprisingly, this deck can Link climb very easily when it gets to it. For that, we are, of course, playing 1 copy of Gravity Controller. So we're going to use the Gravity Controller to get rid of the Tierra when we need to clear that out, to then get more guys back onto board to just try and push for game. 1 copy of Anima, because we're playing level 1s that can like freely be used. Hopefully our opponent's not playing in good zones, you just steal. Then we are playing 1 copy of Heater. If we get Ashed, you can get into an access code play incredibly easy in this deck, so 1 copy of Heater is good. We're playing 1 copy of IP because we just kind of want to have a generic Link 2 to go into in this deck, so the IP is what we're playing. Then we have 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn as what we're going to make off our IP or our transitional piece into our access code, which rounds out the main deck, or rounds out the extra deck. But that will wrap us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, if you do have any recommendations or changes, do make sure to comment those guys down below. We're always happy to have like criticism, I guess, on the deck list, because it's only going to make things better. As always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG though, and have a good afternoon, everybody.